Hello, I'm Craig. I'm going to be your lecturer for writing the short story this semester. And welcome aboard. It's great to have you here. And thank you for choosing this unit. The short story is a remarkable form. It's a form that exists somewhere between the poem and the novel. It's a form that requires you to master all of the elements of fiction: setting, character, dialogue, plot, and so on. But to do that on this smaller canvas without wasting a word. The short story is a beautiful form that not only teaches us the elements of fiction we might want to use when writing, for example, a novel, but it's also a joy and a wonderful form in its own right. And I hope it's a form that you can become enthusiastic about this semester if you're not already. So in this unit, we'll be learning about the short story, as well as the building blocks of all good fiction more generally. We'll be reading some of the very best short stories around, as well as writing two of our own in a workshop environment with our peers. So I'm going to talk here just really quickly about how the lectures work and about how the tutorials work. So we're doing our lectures in this unit this semester via podcast, and you can already find the first one of those recorded under lecture recordings for this unit. Now, the reason we're going for a podcast is the lectures run between an hour and a half long each. And I just feel that staring at a screen for that long can be a little bit fatiguing. So I'm giving you a bunch of options by doing this as a podcast. You can play the audio and look at the lecture slides in whatever way you want to. The lecture slides are available in each of the weekly folders on Blackboard. So this week's slides can be found under the week 1 folder. And you can have those on screen while listening to the podcast if you want to have that speech over screen experience like you'd have if I'd been recording a PowerPoint with voiceover. But you can also do other more inventive things, like you can play the podcast when you're doing something else, like walking your dog or riding on the bus, or colouring in a colouring in book, and then you can use the slides to review the lecture content later. Or there's no formal need to access the lecture slides at all if you just want to consume this entirely via podcast. And again, you'll find the weekly lectures under lecture recordings on Blackboard. Now, what the tutorials do, we're running in completely online mode this semester, so the tutorials will take place via Zoom. And in these tutorials, we have writing exercises. We'll be discussing the weekly readings, the short stories that are set for discussion each week. And these short stories are chosen to illustrate the ideas we're talking about in the lectures, and discussing them will really deepen your understanding of what we've been talking about in the lectures, as well as just deepen your understanding about the short story form in general. So that discussion of the readings is a really important part of this unit. In these tutorials, we'll also have our critique groups where you will be getting and giving feedback on the short stories that you're writing for the unit with a small group inside your tutorials. Now, if you want to know the Zoom IDs of your meetings, your tutors will be getting in touch with you this week to let you know them, but they're also listed on Blackboard. If you jump on Blackboard and have a look in the left-hand pane, there's a folder there called Zoom Times for Tutes and Drop-ins, and that will give you the Zoom link for your weekly tutorial, depending on what tute you're enrolled in. You can also find your tutor's name and the tutes that they take by looking at the contacts on Blackboard as well. Now, for privacy reasons, the tutorials aren't recorded, so the only way to access the tutorial content is to actually attend a tutorial. As for all that lovely critiquing that's going to take place in that space, we'll walk you very carefully through that, and so we'll talk about that a little bit further in coming weeks. Now, we've also got an ongoing discussion for this unit taking place via Padlet, which is an anonymous place where you can post up a question or a comment or an idea, and I'll respond to those. Your classmates can respond to those, and as I say, that's completely anonymous. And each week I'm also going to be doing a little question and answer video for you for any questions that come up in the preceding week. I really want to get to know you, So please do feel free to contact me with questions that you have. There may be questions about the unit, there might be questions about short story, there might just be questions about writing in general. I'm only too happy to take any of those. I give you my email address in this week's lecture, but you can also find me via contacts on Blackboard as well. That's a good place to email me your questions, or you can write them on Padlet. Or if you like, we also have a weekly drop-in session for this unit that I'll be taking. So every week, Mondays 9 to 10 a.m., I'll be here online with a Zoom meeting that you can just drop into at any time, just have a chat with me personally. And again, you can find the Zoom link for that on Blackboard under that Zoom Times for Tutes and Drop-ins link. So hopefully I'll see some of you along to that next Monday at 9 a.m. Thanks again for choosing this unit. I hope we can offer you a really rich learning experience in online mode this semester. You will get to know your classmates very well through their work and their writing. And as you are critiquing and offering critiques, you'll get to know somebody in really quite a lovely personal way. And also the whole teaching team is here to get to know you well too. So thanks again. I hope you have a really lovely time with us this semester. I hope you write some things that surprise you and that you're proud of. And I hope you enjoy this first week's lecture, which is just an introduction to the unit and some ideas about the short story as a form and about generating your own ideas for the short stories you'll be writing this semester. Thanks very much.